Welcome back to Superior Man, and today's topic I will be talking about fear. So, this is a topic which has been affected me and has affected me in the past, and I have some experience of dealing with this, with fear and with anxiety. So, I think that I will be able to talk about my experience and what I have learned about it and how I kind of am able to tackle with this fear, although not 100%, but still to a good extent. So let's talk about fear. Fear has helped our ancestors. Think about our ancestors, around say 2, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 years ago, who used to hunt and gather. And during that time, they also used to have fear in their mind, but that fear was very different. That was a useful fear, and that because of that fear, we are here today. Because of that fear, they were able to survive because whenever a tiger would come inside in front of them, they would react, they would get afraid, and they would either fight the tiger back and kill the tiger, or would run away, as fast as they could. So that way the fear was useful for them, and once the danger was gone, once the tiger or lion, whatever the danger was, it was gone. They used to get back to normal and get back to their homes in their villages, and carry on with their lives. They would not carry that fear with them. In this modern time, this very survival mechanism which has helped our species to get to this point where we are in this modern 21st century world, this very survival mechanism which has led to so much of advancements in our society. Now in this comfortable society that we live in, the fear is not on a eventual basis. We hardly ever have these kinds of encounter where we need to run or fight or flight, right, in this modern society. But the thing which we really fear in this modern society is about future. So we are, so for example, we all have experienced this. We all sit down and we have these thoughts coming up in our mind. What would this happen? What will happen in my job, in my relationship, or with my marriage, or whatever the case might be. So this is in the future. We have so much free time, we have so much to think, and so the fear which we create is in our minds, and because of that we can't do anything about it, unlike our ancestors. And here is where the problem begins. So we need to have strategies in this modern world to really deal with our fears, because our minds are very strong machine, and when our mind gets into this loop of fear, it can get out of control and it can get very destructive for our lives. And the usual coping mechanism which we have for fear is to distract ourselves. We go to parties, we go socialize, or we go hiking or something, and we try to distract ourselves with various other things which might help to a certain extent, but again this subconscious fear stays. It does not address that root cause. So now let me discuss about a few tips and a few things which you can do, which you can implement right away in your life, and which might help you. Although this is a very deep topic, and this is a topic which needs a lot of research, a lot of work to really understand and to really get out of and to be totally fearless. But in this video I will be talking about certain very powerful tips and tricks which you can keep in your mind and you can implement right away, and you can start working on your fear. Okay, so let's get started. Firstly, fear is false evidence appearing true. In our lives we all have things which are false. We should deep down know that they are not something which does matters. What this person thinks about me, what that person thinks about me, what would happen if I speak out. These kinds of fear which we have, these little small fears, that comes because when we identify or when we relate with false things, and that is very easy to do in this modern society because of social media, because of Instagram and hip hop culture, and so much media which we consume on daily basis. So the first tip would be, if you are someone who has a lot of anxiety about what people will think about you, or just about speaking out loud, then I would suggest you that go ahead and cut out on these sources of, on these negative influences, or on these false influences which you might get from social media, from Facebook, from YouTube and all that. I know that it could be difficult to cut it off totally, but what you can do is limit it at least. Do not when you wake up in the morning, there are many people who waking up, they have a habit of just opening Facebook or Instagram. Limit those things, open the social media on a certain time. And I would suggest just totally cutting off. If you can do this, totally cutting off from social media from your life would help you a lot. It would totally transform you. I had done it. It's also difficult for me. I sometimes fall into these addictions, but when I do kind of detoxify, and when I force myself not to watch these things, I have a totally different mindset, and my life is much more easier, and I'm much more charismatic, and I'm much more authentic in the world. So the next step would be to have a healthy life, to have a exercise routine, to maintain your daily good habits like exercising, meditation, journaling. So what happens is, when you do these things, when you have a good routine, healthy lifestyle, or life, healthy body and healthy mind, when you work on it actively, what happens is that these kind of things like exercising and meditation, they help a lot in stabilizing your mind. Exercise is a great thing to stabilize your mind. If you don't exercise, if you are someone who don't exercise and have these problems, I would say just exercise for 3-4 days. Just don't listen to me, just go and exercise for 3-4 days, and you will see the change in your mind state and in your daily lives, day-to-day lives. So the next step is being present to the moment. Being present to the moment means that to really experience this moment as it is, which is that we usually live in our past, or thinking about the future, and because of that we either are involved with the past events which has already happened, or we think about or reminisce about the future, which makes us not missing out this moment, what is happening with what is happening right now or right here. And that is a skill to be developed. My saying you this thing would hardly have any effect. I won't say be present, I would say that understand what presence is. That is the first step, because if I say that go and be present to the moment, don't think about the future, it would never happen. It never works like that. So the tip I would say is that learn about presence, learn about flow state. So there is something called flow state. Go and learn about what flow state is. Basically, flow state is when you are so deeply involved in your whatever you are doing, whatever work you are doing. Say you are studying, or say you are playing football, or say you are playing computer games, or whatever you are doing, you are so deeply involved with it that you are not aware of anything else but that activity which you are doing. That is a very good way and a very efficient way to get to the present moment and experience what presence is. Other than that, what you can do is you can try meditation. Many people do not like meditation, or many people say that they can't meditate. For them, flow state is the thing which they can do. Understand what flow state is and do more research on it. It is a big topic, so I won't be covering it in this video. And if you are someone who can meditate, then the best way to get present is to meditate. So, and the next thing which I would say would help you to be less fearful is to do something every day which you like, something which you are passionate towards, something which you deeply from within your heart you want. Because then what happens is that then you can be someone who is not dependent on the outside world. Then you would be that you have something within you which you want to let out, and that gives you a different kind of power, and that gives you a different kind of vibe, and it makes you less fearful somehow. These will be points which I'll be covering in this short self-help video. So these are just some things which you can just take away right now, and I would say that implementing these things would definitely give you a lot change in your life. And in case you do apply these things and you decide to do these things and do it, I would say that try to take at least 2 or 3 things from these tips and apply it for a week's time, and you would see difference. And if you do see some difference, you can get back to me. You can either comment down below and I can reply you back, and we can have a discussion over there, or or you can also go find me out on Instagram, and over there, if you want to discuss something, if you want to talk about something, I am always free. I'm always free to talk about these subjects. This is something which I'm very passionate about personal development and growing myself in my life. At this time, I'm free to talk and do some discussions regarding the same. Thank you for watching, and if you like the video, do give me a thumbs up and do subscribe. And yes, there will be my Instagram link in the video description below, and if you want to connect, you can go and send me a request over there. Till next time, goodbye.